My name is Ella Israeli. I'm the Policy Fellow at Philly Thrive. Philly Thrive is an environmental and housing justice organization based in Grays Ferry in South Philadelphia. Our Right to Breathe campaign successfully closed the largest oil refinery on the East Coast. At Philly Thrive, most of what I do is focus on our housing work. And, you know, that's so deeply part of climate and environmental justice. Residents here fought for the closure of the refinery that had been making them sick. If they're not able to stay in their homes and in their neighborhoods and enjoy the clean air and enjoy the clean soil that they fought for, like, that is not environmental justice. Last year, we focused on a program called Built to Last, which is a green home repair program. It provides funds for folks to fix their homes, but in a way that also includes, you know, weatherization, clean energy. Bread and Roses has been a long-term supporter of Philly Thrive. It's so important to be investing in local work and local organizing. We won $5 million in the city budget for Built to Last last year. People were like, we did that. Having folks be able to see like collective power and feel their collective power, that is the work that we're doing. And that's gonna have far-reaching impacts that, like, we can't even imagine.
So I'm Reverend Dr. Gregory Edwards, and I am the Executive Director for Power Interfaith, which is Pennsylvania's largest multi-faith, multi-class, multi-generational community organizing initiative. Many of our communities that are historically marginalized and economically challenged, climate often is looked at as an extracurricular activity or something that is not necessarily impacting people in the here and now. If people are thinking about, do I have enough food on my table? Do I have adequate or appropriate housing? Clean air often becomes secondary until you don't have it, until your child is asthmatic, or until the water turns brown, or until your rent goes up because the utility rates go up. So it's really important for us when we are doing work around climate justice to be doing it with the understanding that specifically BIPOC communities suffer the greatest ravages as a result of climate injustice. One of the recent victories is that through our climate justice work, we continue to challenge and even have legal battles with PECO and PGW. Part of that is on the stabilization of rates. And so we have fought in court and through organizing to ensure that the utility companies did not significantly increase rates, which makes it really difficult for folks that are struggling economically. From the very beginning, Bread and Roses was first dollar in. They were one of our first funders. First funds in can be leveraged for other funders, can allow you to do a thing in order to prove yourself, in order to create a path. Bread and Roses literally helped us create a path for us to be able to do the work that we're doing currently. Funding grassroots organizations that are advancing justice really is actually advancing the cause for freedom and democracy. It's said that in white or dominant culture, when they catch a cold, our folks catch pneumonia. And so we absolutely have to understand that our fates are bound together. You can't zip code your way out of what's happening around climate. There's no place you can run or hide. Now more than ever before, we've got to stem the tide.
My name's Talia Young, and I'm one of the founders and the director of the Fishadelphia Community Seafood Program. And here we are. It's a Wednesday fish stand. Every other Wednesday, we come here with a bunch of coolers of fish. Some people will come pick up their fish from here. We are deeply community-based. We build in a sliding scale mutual aid-based price system to enable people to have more access to high-quality food. You know, I really like fish. I think they're beautiful. They live in beautiful systems. They're very cool. I'm especially interested in fish as a vehicle for justice. Climate's effects are seen really directly on fish and fishing. If there's no fish, there's no fishermen. If there's no fishermen, there's no fish to eat. If there's no people eating fish, then the fishermen don't have a livelihood. Like we are bound up together. You know, here are these communities that are small-scale fishing communities on the shore, urban seafood eating communities in the city. We face many of the same challenges. And so I thought at the time, what would happen if we connected these very serious seafood eating communities with seafood harvesting communities on the shore? Does this have potential to increase awareness, increase knowledge, and potentially build solidarity between these communities? Everybody deserves to know where your food comes from and get to be connected and to know about that connection. We're trying to connect everybody in that supply chain together. So not only do the people eating it know everybody who touched it, but the people who harvested it know who's eating it. A bus full of Chinese grandmothers from South Philly and then a bus full of Black families from North Philly get to be in the same place and learning at the same time. It was a moment of seeing the ways that fish can be a tool for community building. The Bread and Roses Tribute for Change Award is recognition that we are part of a larger movement. We're part of a larger movement nationally in terms of people who are working with seafood and fisheries and access, and also locally people who are working toward concrete justice steps.
My name is Zuline Mayfield. I am the chairperson of Chester Residents Concern for Quality Living, or CIRCLE. CIRCLE was formed in 1992 around the incinerator that they put in our community. That is the largest incinerator in the country. They burn about 3,550 tons of garbage every day. There's no big secret why they came here. They came here because we are Black, low income, and they thought that this would be the path of least resistance. When we first started, we didn't know the technical aspects of it. We didn't know about the pollutants or particulate matter or cadmium or arsenic or benzene or formaldehyde or all of these things that were being pumped into our air. So as common people, you react on everything you see, hear, and smell. No politician, no polluter has that right to choke off somebody's ability to breathe. And that's happening in this community. 38% of our children cannot breathe because they have asthma. You have an entire phenomenon called environmental genocide that is happening Black and brown and indigenous communities. Everybody needs to care about this. And you know why? Because none of us has our own separate vein of air that's purer than anybody else's. No, ain't no shield over Chester. Ain't no Wakanda shield here. Nothing that keeps all the nasties in. And what you allow to happen in this community, you doing it to yourself. These are multi-billion-dollar corporations. These ain't no mom and pop, scrap yards. They thought they could come in this community and squash us. But what they did not understand is the resiliency of people who are threatened, of people who you think you're going to take lives years away from their life. No, we'll have none of that. That's why we in the streets today to send a message, and they can bring it on, because we ain't going nowhere. In the end, this is our house. This is our community. This is where we make our stand. Bread and Roses has given groups like mine the ability to go after funding. Those larger fundings, those larger supposedly environmental groups, they go and suck that money out. They have no impact in communities like Chester. And this is where these fights are being fought. This is where the battles are being won. Bread and Roses has a philosophy that they will fund organizations like us. Why? Because we get shit done.